Alright guys, so today I'm going to talk to you about my GoPro settings, my settings I use for ND filters, and the settings I use to export from Final Cut. I got a couple of viewers on YouTube, and there's been a few people in the past on Instagram asking me how I've got my stuff so crisp. And so I'm just gonna go over my export settings and stuff. I don't feel like I'm doing anything special, so hopefully this helps you guys. And yeah, so we'll go ahead and start with the GoPro, the settings that I use, and kind of when I use ND filters and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll go ahead and get started. So I film in 2.7K, 120 frames a second wide. And that's pretty much my go-to setting. I don't really film in. Recently I've been messing with 4K 60 with the hyper smooth. I haven't messed with it enough to make it like my permanent filming resolution and frame rate. So what I'll do is I'll do 2.7K 120. FOV is wide, no stabilization, Pro Tune is on. I'm kind of just going down the menu, that way you guys can, if you wanted to follow these, you could. The next one is shutter speed. I leave shutter speed and auto if I don't have an ND filter on it. If I do have an ND filter and I'm filming in 120 frames a second, I'll take my shutter speed to 1/240. And so we'll move along. EV comp is 0. White balance, I pretty much keep it at 5500K. It's rare that I have to change that. That's a pretty good white balance for like a sunny day, just like any normal day. ISO, min, and max, I usually have them the same because I don't want it fluctuating while I'm flying. And I don't like to go over 400. So I either use 100, 200, or 400. And it's rare that I've actually had to go over 400 just to get the shot. It depends on where you're at. If you want to just get the shot, it's going to be a little grainy if you go up to 800, but it's up to you. Sharpness, and I'll go back and talk to you about once I get through this menu with the normal lens on it. I'll talk to you about ISOs as far as ND filters go and stuff. Sharpness, I use medium sharpness. I've been told and I've noticed that when you use medium sharpness and you're flying pretty close, to the ground, and you get that zoom and by effect, when you upload to YouTube, you don't get that grainy, it kind of looks distorted and stuff at the bottom. So in medium, I've found that you don't get that, which is nice. And then it depends on what you want to do. As far as color goes, you can do GoPro color or flat. Recently, I've just been doing GoPro color because it's pretty freaking good, and you don't really have to worry about color grading in post. So that's good. Audio, I don't mess with any audio stuff. Okay, so that's pretty much my settings with just this normal lens. So then I have the Polar Pro, I guess they're the Senna series. It's $100 for these three, but they're worth it. There's an 8, a 16, and a 32. And yes, I have broken one, and you can't go on their website and just order one. You have to email them and say, hey, for instance, I broke the ND 8, and I emailed them and said, hey, I just want to buy this one, and they'll send you an invoice via email for just one lens, and it's like $40. So that's a lot nicer than having to buy a whole nother kit just because you mess one lens. So I don't typically use the 32. I had before in the middle of the day, and it was just, the sun was so bright, and I had to use the 32. But you can typically get away with just using the 8 and the 16. And so the 8 is pretty much my go-to, because I don't typically fly in the middle of the day that much. I'll fly early morning or, you know, golden hour, and the ND8 is like perfect for that. And what I'll typically do is I'll throw the ND8 on, or it doesn't matter, it could be the 16 too, and kind of the process I go through trying to figure out which one I want. I'll set my resolution and frames per second, which is 2.7K 120, and then I'll go into shutter speed like I was talking about earlier, and I'll go to 1/240. And then at this point, you know, I don't mess with white balance or anything like that. At this point, I'll set my ISO at like 100 min, 100 max, so the way it's set to 100. And then I'll kind of turn the brightness, make sure the brightness on your display is all the way up. And then I'll hold the camera up and kind of, you know, shine the sky, shine down, and see what it looks like through the lens. If it's too dark, I'll go up to 200 min and max, and if that's still too dark, then I'll go up to 400. But if I ever get to 400 and it's still too dark, I don't really go to 800. So at that point, I'll be just like, if I'm already at an ND8, which is the lowest I have, I'll just say screw it. I'll pull the ND filter off and go back to the normal lens and take my ISO back down to like 100 and see how it looks then. But then there's the other side of the spectrum is you've put the ND8 on and you have your ISO all the way down on 100, and then you shine it around and it's still too bright. You can pop that off and go to the ND16, shine around, and if it looks good, then you're good to go. Or if the 16 is a little too dark, then you would back down on your ISO to like 200, and then, like I said before, 400. But so that's kind of like the process I go through, trying to find the best setting for using ND filters. I hope that's helpful. It's kind of trial and error. The more you do it, the more you figure out about it. It gets to where it's a little bit easier and you can do it a little faster. But so those are my GoPro settings. We're gonna jump into Final Cut, and I'll show you my export settings and how I import and all that stuff. So the first thing I do is I'll come in, open library, and I'll click other. And basically I'm gonna make a new library as a new project. So we'll just title this Coast, because I have a little clip from when I was in Oregon. So then I come over here on the Coast spot, right click, and then new project, and I typically name that the same, so Coast. And then so here are my settings that I set my workflow up as. So I do 4K, 3840 by 2160, and 30p, and that's what I set it up as every time. So one thing I do to make editing faster is I do edit with proxies, and if you don't edit with proxies, you need to, because it makes everything so much easier. So what I'll do is I'll click import. I'll go to desktop, and this is the clip that I have selected. Over here, where is it? Just make sure you have create proxy media check marked here. We'll do that too. You can have both of these, right? So when I click import, right, it pops up right here. And you can see right now that it's viewable. So I can you know, watch it and everything. But the thing about this is when you have some 4K files that are really big, and then you start, you add, you know, LUTs packs to it, or you're doing slow motion or anything like that, it really bogs it down. What you can do is if you come up here to where it says view, click that, and you're gonna click proxy. And then instantly it's gonna say this, missing proxy. Well, the best thing for you to do is create your project, go ahead and import all of the clips that you're gonna wanna edit. And then you can see up here, it's loading. It says transcoding, and it's actually creating a proxy file. It's basically just a dumbed down version. It's like 720p or something like that. But it makes, and then you edit in that form, and it makes editing so much smoother. Everything runs super smooth. So we're at 86%. It's almost done. As soon as that's done, this red goes away. And sometimes this can take forever. So don't think it's not working. Also, you can't, if it's going to, for it to transcode the proxy, you gotta leave Final Cut alone. You can go out of the program and get on the internet or whatever, but as far as Final Cut, when you start clicking or doing something else in Final Cut, it pauses that that transcoding. So now we have, if you click here, you'll see we're in proxy, and the videos, the clips there, and you can watch it. So I'm gonna click and just drag it down, and it's not as crisp as it would be, but as you can see, I'm sliding through it and it's not skipping. I can slide through exactly how I want. And if I wanted to cut it, it doesn't skip or anything. I just click. So I'm not gonna go into like the editing process or anything. I just want to show you how I export, or that's how I import. So that clip right here is 60 frames a second, but it goes the same for 120 frames a second. You still import it right there, nothing changes. This is another important thing. So when you're finished with your project and you've been editing the proxy version this whole time, when you're ready to export it, always remember to come back up here to view and then click optimized. And it'll actually, you can, if you watch this, the resolution gets crisper when you click optimize. So now that you've done that, you're finished editing or whatever, and you were in proxy, come up here, click optimize, and then you're gonna come up to the top right here, click that, and then I click master file. This pops up. It tells you what resolution it's in, what frame rate, and these are the settings. I'm pretty sure these are just default. Cool. So then I'll hit next, coast, save, and then this is another instance. You can come up to the top left, click that, and it tells you how long it's gonna take. And to be honest, like a full 3-minute video that I do or something like that, to render it out, it only takes about 5 minutes or so. It doesn't take that long. That's why I don't really like Premiere. I tried Premiere, I just couldn't get into it, so I'm still doing Final Cut. But so this is all I do. And so from here I'll close Final Cut, and this is the video I just exported, right? I literally click that and drag it into the upload spot on YouTube, and that's it. That's all I do. I don't do anything else, nothing special. So, and then as far as someone said my Instagram videos are always so crisp. I literally, this is what I do to to put my stuff on Instagram. I have an iPhone, this is Apple, so I have AirDrop, and I literally right click on this, go to share, AirDrop, click my phone, pops up, click accept, and it's there. And let's see, I go straight in and go to next, and that's what I do to import or to upload to Instagram. That's it. So I don't know how helpful this will be. I don't typically do these kind of videos, but a few guys were asking for it, so I'm happy to let you know what I know. I hope that answered your questions. If you have any other questions, just put them in the comments below and I'll definitely answer them. And if you want me to make another video, I can do that too. So stay tuned. I'm going to Utah in 2 days, so that's gonna be sick. Gonna test a new long range rig out there. Let me show you that thing. I don't have the props on it, but that's it. It's a 6-inch Stingy. Got the GPS on it. Yeah. It actually flies super good. I'm really excited about it. So you'll see the videos. I'll be posting them. 2019 is gonna be pretty sick, so stay tuned and thanks for watching, guys. See ya.